Hey guys, Jason here with a word of the wise. I'm going to be jumping back into the Ezekiel and Revelations. Instead of being in the 30s in Ezekiel, we're going to start right at the beginning. And I'm going to show you guys some amazing key things I think are either amazing types and shadows or are speaking of the exact things in Revelations. So there again, it's like if you look at the Magog War spoken in Ezekiel, it covers almost 3 chapters talking about everything that's happening in that. When you read about the Magog War in Revelations, it's about a paragraph, maybe 2. So, Ezekiel chapter 1, it's top to bottom. It's got so much going on. I don't know what it would be speaking about in Revelations other than, the times where it's speaking about the throne, say like in chapters 4, I think in 5 in Revelations. This is kind of going just from the very tip end of chapter 1 to 3 to 2 to 3. And I'm going to try to keep it honed in there for the most part right now. And I figured since the mark of the beast has a nice abbreviation of M.o.T.E, this is going to be the beginning of the end series, so I'm just going to call it the B.o.T.E. Just to make it a lot easier with the title, so I can kind of put more of the subject matter and which part of the chapters. I had to erase, I think, 1 or 2 of them. I don't know what happened. YouTube took them down and did not allow them. So I already erased them off my phone, so I can't even go back and really edit or even see what I had on that video. So let me just take off my hat. So this is kind of going to deal into Revelations chapters 9, 10, and 11. In chapter 9, it speaks about the beast in the bottomless pit. And then there's I think the second army it speaks about. And chapter 10 in Revelations, he is given the book and told to eat it, where it's the honey and makes his belly bitter. And then chapters 11 is talking about the 2 witnesses. And then there's a great earthquake. So I'm gonna bounce back and forth, so just bear with me. I'm gonna try to keep this very brief and to the point. Interestingly, a voice from above the firmament that was over their heads when they stood and had let down their wings. So there was the firmament. It's kind of interesting. I like that kind of a lot of people talk about that. So if you go, that's just a verse in verse 25 in chapter 1, but we're going to go to verse 28. It's the last. And a point I want to make in all of these chapters I've already spoken about, they're continuations. Even though there's a break that makes them a chapter, the chapter itself does not mean that it's speaking on a whole nother timeline, a whole nother vision, a whole nother this, a whole nother that. And I'm just going to read you the last sentence from chapter 1 and then go right to chapter 2, and you'll see you don't know where that break is. I fell upon my face, and I heard a voice of one that spake, and he said unto me, Son of man, stand upon thy feet. That's chapter 1 to chapter 2. And is the first word in chapter 2. So same thing when you go to the end of chapter 2 to go to 3. It says the first word in chapter 3. Moreover, he said unto me, and he spread it before me, and it was written within and without. Moreover, he said unto me. That's kind of paraphrasing. I took a little bit out of that because I want to get back to that, leave it a little more suspenseful. So, chapter 1. Okay. Verse 28 in Ezekiel. As the appearance of a bow that is in the cloud in the day of rain, so was the appearance of the brightness round about, that was appearance of the likeness of the glory of the Lord. When I saw it, I fell upon my face, and I heard a voice of one that spake. And he said unto me, Son of man, stand upon thy feet, and I will speak to thee. So appearance of a bow that is in the cloud in the day of rain. Keep that in mind. A rainbow, right? Simple. Now, if we go, make sure I got my chapter saved here. Sometimes I take my bookmarks out and then I kick myself. First chapter, or first verse in chapter 10. And I saw my end. There's a continuation word. So, and I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud, and a rainbow was upon his head, like a cloud after a rain. A rainbow was upon his head, and his face was it were the sun, and its feet were as pillars of fire. The thing that kind of caught my eye, and I wanted to speak on this before, and I've never really spoken on chapter 10 in Revelations in the years where I've made hundreds of videos. I've spoken on almost most chapters. There's these ones that were, they're dealing with Jesus in heaven where he's on his throne. I really want to hone those things in before I just start talking about like I have some sort of knowledge. I'm a student. I'm not a priest, a scholar, or anything. That's what I'm doing here, is I'm just learning and I'm sharing what I see and what I learn. So this is talking about him taking the book and eating it up. And the line that caught my eye, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna copy and paste that into the search bar on Bible Hub and see what pops up. And Ezekiel, in the beginning chapters, popped up, and so I started reading into that, and it blew my mind. I did a lot of looking into these prophets in the past. Once I figured out kind of a little bit more of what Mystery Babylon was all about, and then it opened my eyes, and I said, well, look what the prophets are all speaking to. A rebellious house, those in iniquity, adultery, blah, 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 blah. And who are they always speaking to? They're not speaking to the Gentiles of the world. They're speaking to that time-peace land. I got a weird glow coming off the sunset over here. It's not even sunny. It's amazing how much light's coming off. So John eats the book. So we go into verse 9 here in Revelations. And I went unto the angel, and he said unto him, Give me the little book. And he said unto me, Take it, eat it up. It shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. So it'll be bitter in his belly, but in your mouth it'll be sweet as honey. Why then is that book so bitter to swallow? Why is it so hard to stomach, to take, to digest? What is in the book, what it says. So you go into chapter 3 in Ezekiel's vision of the scroll, just a little summary on the title. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. And he said unto me, Go, son of man, go get thee unto the house of Israel, and speak my words unto them. For you are sent to a people not of a strange speech, or of a hard language, but to the house of Israel. Not to many people of a strange speech and a hard language, whose words thou cannot understand. Surely had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee. But thy house of Israel I will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. They will not hearken unto thee, because they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted. So, again, why is the book hard to stomach? And if you go back now just to the end of chapter 2 of Ezekiel, where it's a continuation on to 3, we'll bounce back a little further, but I just want to read you just this last 9 and 10. And when I looked, behold, a hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein. And he spread it before me, and it was written within and without, and there was written lamentations, mourning, and woe. And woe. So the thing that caught my eye there is there are 3 woes that are spoken in Revelations. So now you go to Revelation to the 2 witnesses, and it speaks about them coming for the 1260 days. And when you go into chapter 11, verse, well, I'll get to that, to verse 14. So, and I heard a great voice from heaven, saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. In the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. In the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted, and gave glory to the God of heaven. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So that's the second woe after the 2 witnesses are killed in that great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where the Lord was crucified. Not Washington, D.C., not Rome. I know all roads lead to Rome. A lot of people like to use that, but doesn't mean that Rome is Mystery Babylon. I've done lots of looking into that, and it's not what I see. And a lot of people make a lot of big videos, and like a lot of people share a lot of those videos with a lot of these things about, 7 mountains and la-da-da. Not what I'm here to talk about anyway. So let me get back into this. One last little piece I just want to talk about. It is chapter 2 in Ezekiel, verse 6. Now this is speaking to that house of Israel still, all the way through. We'll start at verse 5. And they, whether they will hear or whether they will not forbear, yet shall they know that there had been a prophet among them. And thou, son of man, be not afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words. Though briars and thorns be with thee, thou dost dwell amongst scorpions. Be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. So, rebellious. What are we looking at all around the world? If you watch On Point Preparedness, he just had a great video showing all the rebellion buildup that's happening around the world, even in Iran, a place where the people you wouldn't think would even rise up against their government, with all the crazy penalties that come with speaking out too much. So now you go to verse 9 in Revelations. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given the power as the scorpions of the earth have power. Now you skip down to verse 5 in chapter 9 Revelations. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. In those days men shall seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee for them. So this is talking about those coming out of the bottomless pit, also amongst scorpions, as Ezekiel has spoken about that rebellious house. Now just imagine if something, I don't want to say the name of those 7 laws that a lot of people have talked about in the past that really are just kind of sitting on the wayside. But if you worship Jesus, that can be blasphemous in that kind of an idea. So people are going to have to be very strong and firm in their faith in confessing Jesus. If you do confess that in those 7 laws, it can be let's just say it's a steep punishment. I'll leave it at that. But here again, if we're waiting for monsters to come upon the earth out of a bottomless pit, and we have a whole playbook of that happening, and when people say, what's going on? And you just pull this out and show them, well, this is what's going on. This is what was written for thousands of years. And guess what? it's happening. And you know what that means? That means Jesus is coming. And that means that aliens and science and all these things about evolution and blah, 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 blah. Guess what? That all starts to fall apart. Oh, there's angels and demons and da da da. Yeah, guess what? Everybody in the world would repent like that when they had that kind of information put in front of them from the Bible. But I don't think it's going to be that simple. I think it's metaphorical in many senses. I could be completely wrong. Remember, student of prophecy, student of the Bible, student of the Word. But yes, they're speaking about rebellion and rebuilding and all these things. Yes, they're speaking about aliens in the news. Yes, they're speaking about nuclear war and all that stuff. But also now, what are people talking about? Dirty bombs and lesser things. Now, yes, totally berserk power outs, invasions, food shortages, craziness might sweep across the globe, across America. I mean, we think too highly of ourselves, yet we're also in this tribulation time period. So if those things happen, but at the same time, it's all being promoted so much. And I just wonder, like, what would it really take just to flip a switch in people so that way they say no more of telling us this or telling us that. And when the people become a rebellious people and evil is only in their heart continuously, isn't that the same kind of an idea of a total breakdown or a dismantling of humanity, society, the destruction of America, the destruction of the people? You know, you look at the beast. You look at the beast in your chapter 13 in Revelations. You know, there's not a lot of talk about, a lot of destruction happening. Yes, they have the power to make fire come down from heaven, which I also think, if that's the power that they are given, looking at the Magog war spoken in Revelation 20, that's the same thing that happens, is that God has his hand come down and pour fire down to save his people from those encompassing armies after the 1,000-year reign of Christ. So, in that kind of an idea, imagine if that second beast that has the power to make fire come down from heaven to deceive the people and say, look, God did this for us. We are truly the holy people. When Russia or, yada 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 bad communist people come to encompass the city, and then boom, fire rains down to save them, and they can say, this is the miracle that was talking about. And now it shows the world that we are that holy people, that holy seed. And we can help save all you, but you got to listen to us and not go back into Jesus. That's blasphemy. If you think that God walked the earth or a man, we're waiting for the Messiah still. I'll leave it at that. Just a word to the wise, guys. God bless.